Hello everyone, welcome back. Yes, same day, same outfit, just different spot for this video. This is going to be my November TBR, November reading plans, November pile of possibilities, because it's kind of a lot. I don't know how much I'll get through, but I'm very, very excited about this. So excited because I'm participating in the Historathon 3.0, a historical fiction readathon. I can only think of the Curly Reader who is hosting it, but I believe that there are two others who are co-hosting with her. Anyway, I will try to find the videos and link them down below, the announcement videos and everything, but historical fiction is one of my top favorite genres to read, and I'm just so excited to just dive into that whole genre and read all the new books that I haven't gotten to yet. My goal was to try to get books that I already have on my shelf that I haven't read yet to complete all of the prompts, and I was able to do that with all but one. So I'm really excited about that because I have a lot of books that are not read yet that are on my shelf, so you know, gonna knock off a whole lot of them this month, hopefully. The way that this readathon works is they have several different prompts, but they're all related to the previous book you read, so it's kind of like a stitch in time. Every prompt is, you know, leads down through the books. I will explain it as I go through. But anyway, the first prompt is a book with the word lost in the title. They are doing a group read for this, but I can't remember the title. I'll put it here. I don't remember exactly what it was, but my library didn't have it available, and I also didn't want to buy a new book, so I decided to go with a different one. But I'm going to go with the Book of Lost Names by Kristen Harmel. I'm borrowing it from the library, so I don't have the physical copy yet. I put it on hold, but I'm not sure that it's available yet. It probably is. I'll have to pick it up tomorrow. This is a book about a librarian who works in Florida who comes across an article one day in the newspaper, and she's immediately reminded of the work that she did during the war of helping rescue Jewish children and just like erasing their names and giving them new passports. But because of the new passports and new names, their real names and who they actually were kind of lost to the world. And I'm assuming, I don't know a whole lot about this book exactly, but I'm assuming that she kept a list of these names and their actual names in a book somewhere. And so I don't know a whole lot about it, like I said, but I love the premise, and it's a book that's been on my want to read list on Goodreads for a while. So the next prompt is a book set in a different country than the previous book. So this one was a little hard because it kind of spans, like I think it's kind of like a dual timeline thing maybe, or at least, you know, something like that, where it jumps from Florida in the early 2000s and then jumps to France and Germany in the 40s. And so, you know, I had to make sure that it wasn't in France, Germany, or the United States. So I went with Bread Upon the Water by Anne de Graaf. I have not heard of this author, I've not read her books before, but when I saw this book, I had to pick it up because it was soon after I came home from Poland this summer. I was visiting my friend over there, and this book and the rest of the series came through the thrift store like soon after I got back. And it's set in Poland, it's World War II, my favorite time period to read for historical fiction. But yes, Bread Upon the Waters. Poland, 1945, a land devastated by war, a people alienated by hatred, a young man and woman divided by love. So I don't know a whole lot about it because I kind of just want to go in without, you know, a whole lot of knowledge about it. But I thought it would be so fun to read this book because I've been to Poland twice now. I love the country. It's so beautiful, and there's so much history within the country of Poland, and I think this one would just be a lot of fun to read. The next prompt is to read a book with a similar cover. I'm probably cheating, but this book Bread Upon the Waters is the first book in a series, and so I'm like, I can't just start a book and not read the rest of the series. So I'm gonna pick up the next one because it is a similar cover. You know, the designs are the same, just the color is a little different. And this one is the second one in the Hidden Harvest series, Where the Fire Burns, and it is post-war Poland, a young woman's search for her father and the decision between the love of two brothers. So we're just continuing the series, apparently, you know. I'm assuming this is allowed. I don't know if that's cheating or not. But then the next prompt is a book set in a different decade. Again, I hope I'm not cheating for this next prompt, but the next one is to get a book set in a different decade than the previous book. So this one actually spans from like the 1950s to the 1970s, so I had to make sure to avoid all of those decades. So I chose to just continue reading A Hard Adrift. I'm just 8 chapters into the book, and I was going to read it for October, but it didn't happen. So I'm just moving it to November, and conveniently enough, it fulfills the prompt. So I hope this works. Because I didn't actually start it in October, but you know, here we are. This one is set in the early 1700s in America, and I've talked a lot about this book in a lot of the other videos because I was going to read it in October, but I didn't. But anyway, basically we follow Esme, she's a chocolatier, and Henry Lennox. I can't say the French names with the proper French accent, so we're just going to say Henry Lennox. And I believe this is more of like a second chance love story. But yes, it's set in the early Americas, and I'm enjoying this book. I just haven't really had the time to just sit down and just finish it, so I'm going to bump it to November and read it for this Historathon. Okay, so then the next prompt is to read a book by an author with the same first letter in the last name. So this one is Laura France, so I had to find an author with the same last name. It starts with the letter F, and I chose Daughter of the Reich by Louise Fane. I probably only picked this up because, again, it's set in World War II, it's historical fiction. I pretty much love most historical fiction books that I read set in this time. Again, don't know much about this one, but it is one that's been on my shelf for a while and has not been read, and I need to get it read. I'm just going to read a little bit of this section just to let you guys know what it's about a little bit. She must choose between loyalty to her country and a love that could be her destruction. As the dutiful daughter of a high-ranking Nazi officer, Hetty Henrich is keen to play her part in the glorious new thousand-year Reich, but she never imagines that all she believes and knows about her world will come into stark conflict when she encounters Walter, a Jewish friend from the past who stirs dangerous feelings in her. Confused and conflicted, Hetty doesn't know whom she can trust and where she can turn to, especially when she discovers that someone has been watching her. And I'm going to stop there. It really sounds interesting, and you know, most times World War II historical fiction books are set around like the victims of Germany and the Nazi ideology, but then this one is actually a daughter of a Nazi officer, so I thought that perspective would be very interesting. So that is the one I will be reading for that prompt. Then the next prompt is a book with fewer pages. This one is, if I can find, wow, that's a lot of pages. I didn't realize it was so many pages when I picked this book out, so I have a lot of thick books in this TBR, so I hope I can get through them. But yes, there's basically 530 pages in this book, so it wasn't hard to find a book with fewer pages. And again, cheating, and I'm picking up the third book in the Hidden Harvest series because I wanted to just go ahead and finish the entire series. Because I can't just start and not finish it. But anyway, this one is Out of the Red Shadow, and it is Poland, 1988, a people rising up in solidarity and the redemption of a family through enduring love. So, I just love that all of these are set in Poland because I love Poland, I love its people, the history is fascinating, and especially during World War II and the years after that, because they were under communist Russia at the time after the war. So like the Russians would have come in and liberated them from the Nazis, but then they were then oppressed by their socialistic ideas, and so socialistic communistic ideologies. So I'm very interested in how these books portray that. The next prompt is to read a book with the protagonist being of a different race than the previous book, and so these are obviously Polish people, and so I decided to pick up The Help by Catherine Stockett. This is a fairly well-known book, but I don't know much about it except what I've seen on the movie trailer. I haven't actually even seen the movie yet. I don't really know a whole lot about it except that it was kind of popular for a while. I don't know if it still is quite as popular, but I decided to pick up this one. It's been on my shelf, like I said, for a while, and I'm really happy that I can fulfill some of these prompts by reading some of these books that have just been sitting there for a while that I need to read. So, I don't know that much about it, but there's that one for that prompt. And then the next prompt is to read a book blurbed by the author. So there was a bit of confusion with this prompt because some people were saying that, or some people were thinking that it meant that we needed to find a book that would have been blurbed or reviewed by Catherine Stockett. But then they clarified and said that you can also choose an author on the back of the book that reviewed this specific book. And so I did try to find books that were reviewed or blurbed by Catherine Stockett, but I couldn't find anything. I'm not sure how you even look for those kinds of things, but every Google search and every like type of word sentence structure, it was not helping. So I just decided to see if there was an author on the back here that had a book that I could read. And lo and behold, I had one, and I chose Adriana Trigiani, who blurbed that book, and I had this book sitting on my shelf that I actually forgot I had, and it is All the Stars in the Heavens. So yes, All the Stars in the Heavens. I really don't know that much about it. I believe this was actually free from the thrift store because if books have been on the shelf for a long time, they get recycled, and so once they are at that point and are being recycled, we can take them home for free. But then if they reach a certain amount of pounds, because we sell our recycled books by the pound, then we need to, like, they ask us to donate a little bit of money. So technically it was free. So that's the only reason I picked it up, and I didn't know that much about it, but apparently it's like in the 1930s in Hollywood, and it's about the actors who played in Gone with the Wind, and so yes, I don't know that much about it. I don't even know if I'll enjoy it or if I'll even finish it because I don't know what kind of content is in here. So yeah, but there is that one. All the Stars in the Heavens by Adriana Trigiani. The next and final prompt for this readathon is a book with the same number of letters in the title as the previous book. So this one had 23 letters in the title. It was a very long title, so I was like, I don't know if I even have a book that has that title or that amount of letters. And so I was going through counting all of them. There were some that was 21 or 25, but I then found The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris, and it has exactly 23 letters, and so I decided to pick this up. I've had this book for a very long time, and I had wanted to read it for a very long time, but I'm just gonna say this. I was kind of hesitant to read it then, once I found out that the actual Auschwitz museum and the people there don't actually recommend this book as a good representation of what actually happened. So it is apparently very inaccurate to the actual Auschwitz prison camp. So now that I know that, I think I can actually kind of go into it and just read it as a novel. But I think that the author took some creative liberties that the people at Auschwitz in the museum there didn't love. So if you're thinking about reading that, that's just some information for you as well. So basically, I wasn't going to read this book after I heard that, because there are a lot of other books that better represent what life was like in the Auschwitz prison camp, and a lot of books that the actual museum recommends. So when I was in Poland this summer, I actually got to visit Auschwitz, the prison camp. I still can't even think about it. I have blocked it out of my mind. The day that we visited, when we left, I had to completely block out everything that I saw there in order to be able to enjoy the rest of the day and the evening with my friends. And it was a very tough experience. And like I bought some books from the library there at the museum, and I haven't even been able to get those and read them yet. And so I wasn't excited that this book fit the prompt, but because it did, I am going to read it, or try to read it. Again, because I was there and actually saw the place with my own eyes. It's just awful, the things that happened there. But yes, there's that for what it's worth. So if I'm unable to finish this book, that's why. And yeah, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to have visited the place, but it's also a place that I never want to go to again. Once is enough. Yeah, it's just a heavy place to go visit. But anyway, this is the last book for the Historathon that I plan to read. And because it is also Nonfiction November, but also I always like to include a nonfiction in my monthly reads, I decided to pick up Live Your Truth by Elisa Childers. The book club that I'm a part of with her on Facebook is reading this book right now. I'm a little behind, but I'm really excited to dive into this book. I really enjoyed her other book, Another Gospel, and I really enjoy her podcast, like I've said before. But this one is one where she takes some of those cliche lines that influencers on social media love to put out and just tackles them, because she's like, because they sound good, but they're actually not good for us to actually take that advice. So like Live Your Truth, the actual title is Live Your Truth and Other Lies, exposing popular deceptions that make us anxious, exhausted, and self-obsessed. So I think Brooke from Pages of Blessings is also reading this this month. So yeah, I'm excited to hear. You want to play with your ball? I'm excited to hear what she has to say about the book as well, but I'm really excited to dive into this one. I think Elisa does a really good job of kindly pointing out the things that are not true and that are just widely accepted just because they sound good, or they might sound like the truth in our culture. And I think she does a great job of kindly picking those things apart and actually giving us the truth in the gospel, in scripture. So yes, that is my nonfiction read of the month that I'm planning to read. And there we go. That is, whoa, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books. That's crazy. Let's see if I can get that done, because this is November 3rd and I missed 3 days of reading this month already, so you know, I need to get on that. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you read any of these books, let me know your thoughts on them, if you think I might actually enjoy them, or if they're maybe not worth my time and I need to pick another book for the prompts. And yes, let me know what you're looking forward to reading most this month as well. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!